Hello, Namaskar everyone. Welcome to Dhwani, which means sound in Hindi. We bring to you resonating sounds created by the actions of women innovators, leaders, experts, and entrepreneurs who are making a difference in their and others' lives. We share their stories to inspire and empower other women. Dhwani is an initiative of Innoberry, which is offering a platform for the women to voice their thoughts, struggles, challenges, achievements, highs and lows, and the journey that they have undertaken. I am Pooja Bhatia, a tech transfer, patent licensing, and intellectual property professional, and now your host for this show. Let's inspire and get inspired. Hi, good morning, everyone. My today's guest is a very special person. She's among the top women entrepreneurs in India. She is the sustainability expert. She has been winner of UNWTO Award for Sustainable Tourism 2019. Her first venture was V Resorts, and now she's a co-founder of Ecoratings, which is a generative AI solution for sustainability domain. Welcome, Aditi, to this episode of Womania, and I am looking forward to listening to your stories and drilling you about what was the difference of being a solo entrepreneur and then becoming a co-founder.
Thank you so much, Pooja. Thank you for having me on Womania. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
So, Aditi, let's dive into it. So, how do you feel is ecotourism coming up in India, and what role do you see for eco rating to play in the upcoming tourism
think
which is there in India?
Yeah, I think ecotourism is very confused right now. I think we had at V Resorts, we had very strong, stringent, protocols on what is ecotourism. These days, people use the term very, very loosely. And also, post COVID, the entire hospitality industry has completely changed. So you would confuse ecotourism with things like very high on experiences or, doing things that we used to do like 10 years ago, which was, sitting by the river and doing like a picnic. So, those sort of activities is what people confuse ecotourism to be. Okay. Ecotourism is much more than that, right? And it will start right from, the E, which is the environment part, that how are you looking after your hotel? What are your energy requirements? How are you managing your waste? What are your water conservation methods? All those things. Then it would go to the gamut of S. So that is how many locals do you have? What sort of opportunities or trainings are you creating for them? Because people just hire locals. Now there are no centralized training schools anymore, like the way we used to have. Of course, there are hospitality oriented colleges, but they are not really geared up for the locals, let's say, and especially in some of the states. And then, of course, the governance aspect is very, very strong. Do you have daily wages? Are you paying minimum wage to all your people? Which I mean, I can tell you that, maybe 90% of the hotels don't do that. And maybe the chains are becoming more compliant because you'll see the five-star chains like Taj, ITC, etc. They're all getting into this space. So basically, they are the ones who could be compliant. I've actually even seen ITC's menu, which follows the WWF standards. So some of the large, I think the large chains are following that protocol and trying to introduce it in some which way. But the remaining 90% of the fragmented market that we used to run when we were in V Resorts still remains, quite dubious. And I don't think that too many people understand the concept of ecotourism. Also, I don't think it's become quite a trend. I think recently, in recent times, if you see, people are not really asking for sustainable stays the way they were asking before COVID. I think the mood or the thing has really changed to more solitude based or more luxury based, small boutique properties, etc. But one good thing, which is I'd say a byproduct of ecotourism that has happened, is that people from the main tourist locations have started going to the offbeat places. I think everybody prefers an offbeat location now instead of, the main locations. So I think that is a great byproduct, so that the main locations are not overrun. Even then we see the smaller locations are pretty overrun by traffic and all that stuff, which is a problem. But the good thing is that, the main locations have, I mean, the offbeat travel has really picked up. So I'm hoping in the coming years, with the compliances and the regulatory framework that is happening, they will also, hotels and restaurants and, the whole hospitality vertical will also have to keep pace with that.
So this entire ecotourism thing that's coming up now in India, where do you think eco rating could play a role for the companies and help us per se in getting into that E mode?
So Ecoratings is actually a Gen AI product. So it's like the chat GPT for sustainability. Unfortunately, we haven't launched it for individuals. So if we had launched it for individuals, you'd be able to actually just put in, a question saying how eco-friendly is this hotel, and you'd get a very long, comprehensive answer. But that is right now being tested in the B2B space, and so all our clients are B2B. Unfortunately, we haven't thought of B2C primarily because it requires huge amounts of marketing and tech outlay. So as a startup, we can't do that. But I'm hoping at some point of time, once the value prop becomes strong enough for a larger tech giant, maybe like say a Microsoft or whoever, once it becomes relevant for them, then they have the capacity to actually launch it for the B2C. And that would create wide scale transparency. So forget about ecotourism. You could actually ask anything. Tomorrow, if you're shopping at Zara, you can say, okay, I'm buying this dress. How much is, how eco-friendly is this? Or what are the carbon emissions of this? Or is it really made of the materials that Zara claims to be, etc., etc., right? So, or if you go to a restaurant, you can ask them about the ESG score of that restaurant, whether they do local sourcing. I mean, you can ask any question basically, like you ask in a chat GPT. So that would be great because there would be amazing amount of transparency, and consumers will actually put burden of sustainability on the companies because they will demand it. And that's really the world I'm looking forward to, not the world that is driven by compliances that is happening right now, because we're forcing companies to be compliant with sustainability right now. It should actually be driven by demand. That's when companies will really change.
True, but I see eco rating as a very useful tool. Like you said, you are currently catering to a particular segment of the market, but later on, when you expand, and I hope Microsoft is hearing and they get in touch with you, and then,
I
so then it would be really useful, like you said, asking the questions, not just about the resorts and the places that we are going, but also uh, clothes, like you mentioned, Zara. So that would be a very interesting question.
food you eat, yeah, the food you eat, the stuff you buy, anything, any sort of behavior of a consumer can be validated or checked by or audited, let's say, by the tool. And they can tell you what the sustainability index looks like for it.
That's going to be really interesting. I hope I get a chance to run few questions on it whenever you are, rolling out B2C. I'll be the first one. I'll be your first user for sure.
Thank you. That really sounds good.
So, Aditi, you have been a solopreneur, uh, and now you are a co-founder. So, which one was better, and which would you prefer? Would you like to be a solopreneur, or would you like
I don't
to
think
have
I'll
a
ever have the
co-founder?
guts. I don't think I'll ever have the guts to be a solopreneur again. I don't think that's happening. That is just really not happening. And in any case, my journey as a solopreneur was actually also pretty different because I was funded by a lot of institutions. So I had like, I mean, as an entrepreneur, you think that you'd have all the power, but that's absolutely not there because the company was a board run company. The owners were really the investors, not so much me. So it was a very complicated dynamic. And within the company, especially when you're doing like an operations heavy company, you're looking at all the verticals from marketing to branding to sales to operations to customer relations to investor relations to compliances. It's like a huge gamut, a huge gamut. And let me tell you, as a co-founder, I wear two, three hats. So I look after investor relations and I also look after the product part of it because I'm from the sustainability domain. Even those two verticals I keep cribbing because I'm like, look, choose one. I can't do both. Imagine. And there I was
Yeah.
doing like all eight, nine verticals that happen, even the tech actually. So everything falls on your shoulder. You have professionals who are running different departments, but ultimately everything falls on your shoulder. As a co-founder, the blame, or let's say the fun of doing well, is to be shared, and the blame of doing badly is also to be shared. So when one person is feeling low, the other person can come in. Like just today, we had this call and there was another call, so I could at least tell one of my co-founders, can you please take that call, because I'm busy and I have this call. So those type of shuffling things and all you can easily do. And like you say, the entrepreneurial journey is, very I mean, it's lonely, right? Because the only other person who can understand your plight is the other entrepreneur. So it is good to have co-founders, because even if you have professional staff, they're never at par with you. They're never in the boardroom with you. They're never the guys who are defending, you, because you have to defend yourself in the case
True.
of a solopreneur. So I don't think I'll ever have the guts. And in fact, this is a tech company, so the number of verticals or the number of departments are also less, right? As a B2B company, we don't have branding and we don't have marketing and all that. It's very restricted. It's a very small thing that we do. And we don't have digital marketing, we don't have any of that, which we used to manage, on a daily basis. So on a daily basis, I used to look at the numbers, that how many queries have come, how much money have you spent, how many queries are converted. I mean, it was quite a nightmare, yeah, because I used to come in and the first half of the day I would only spend on MIS, like what's happening, right? Because you need to know what's happening to be able to take action. And then the second half of the day used to be action oriented. And as an entrepreneur, I would have different things to do, which would be very tough to do, yeah, because I would be managing everybody else. So, I mean, if you are a solopreneur, please find somebody for yourself, is all I can
Yeah,
say.
definitely. And like you said, if you are a solopreneur, you constantly need to switch yourself
Yeah,
from one thinking zone to the other thinking zone. So,
everything. Yeah,
and
but
it's
learning is
very
great.
learning is great, but it's very
Learning is great.
energy consuming, right? Because you're
Very,
constantly fluctuating between the positions and you need to take
absolutely.
care of so many things. And moreover, a few of these solopreneurs that I have met also mentioned that, the investors don't trust you much because
Yeah,
they
no.
know.
Yeah. It's not about trust, yeah. It's about the fact that one person gets tired. It's just about that. So it's not really trust per se. It's more like, I mean, if suppose one person was to leave, will the company continue? Yes, it would. Because we would always make sure that that you replace that person with someone else. But in the case of a solopreneur, what do you do? Yeah, you're just all your bets are hinged on that person. So it's really very it's risky also, right? So that's why investors also don't prefer that.
So, Aditi, tell me, how do you maintain work-life balance? Now that you are a co-founder, I know there are challenges being a solopreneur. So, if you were to compare both the situations, what would you say how to maintain the work-life balance for any women entrepreneur?
See, I think we are generally pretty good at balancing everything, because we, in any case, I mean, just because we're working doesn't mean that we won't prioritize our family when we need to, or be there if someone is unwell. We do all those things as well, right? But I think in this environment where, especially, I think given the new ways of working, or the, what we call it, the future of work, a lot of the things are happening over Zooms. Like even we are doing something over Zoom, and we're, there's so many meetings over Zoom. There are days when you don't have to go to office, and in fact, more importantly, forget about that. You can actually manage geography sitting in one place. That is what we are doing. And somebody
True.
asked us that yesterday, that, do you have to travel a lot? Are you always there? And I'm like, I've not gone even once. Because even America really likes working on Zoom. Seriously, I mean, all the guys I've been meeting, even if I'm meeting the whole management team, they all come together on Zoom or on Teams or whatever. And it's really amazing to see how people have changed in that dynamic. I've been gone to America and done meetings over Zoom there also, So, I mean, they're very clear. We don't come to office, we're doing the meeting over Zoom. Like, okay, cool. So the point is that has changed, and that is a really big thing for women, because that makes us be able to manage even more efficiently. Okay, so for example, I'll give you my example. Like I have a yoga class 3 times a week. And for me, that is very, very important because I'm doing, I'm meditating also. So it's that very lovely sort of yoga that I do where all different types of yoga come together. And for me, that is like my lifeline. So if I have to do it, I have to do it. Now, if there is a call that day, where there is something, we have to do other geography, so we have to wake up very early in the morning sometimes, then I am very clear about it. Look, I am prioritizing this. Okay, that call can be shifted or that call can be taken by somebody else. So that way, I feel that your own ability to keep at it on a consistent, because that's the only thing that an entrepreneur has. That's a trait that an entrepreneur has, which a worker or an employee does not have. The grit, that ability to just carry on, no matter what, no matter how tough, no matter how easy, you just carry on. You don't leave it. That's the main thing. So to have that grit to carry on, you also have to focus a lot on your own mental wellness. There are so many days when you feel burnt out. You should just take the day off. It's really no big deal. I have worked in an environment where I've taken not a single day off because I felt that if I left, then the whole thing will fall apart. To a place where I've taken many days off. Nobody even asked me that what happened to you. They're like, oh, you're unwell, just take the day off. I mean, for us, it's so easy. We just have to say, look, we're not feeling up to it. Take the whole day off. Don't even talk to anybody. Put your phone off. It's very cool. So that culture you have to only create. No? You'll create for yourself because you're at the head of the helm. You create for yourself and then you create for your employees also. And there is a very fine line between somebody taking advantage of that, because there are people who will take advantage of that. The only
True.
thing that you need to see is that are you delivering on time from an employee? The quality and the timeliness of the work matters, nothing else matters. And for you, you have to take those breaks. If you have to take them, you must take them. You can't just keep pushing yourself endlessly. So I think this it's your own decision to have the work life balance. That is your own decision, and you are at the helm, so you can take that decision, right? Which I have taken for myself now in this venture.
Yeah.
And I did not take it last time. And I remember how terrible I felt. I mean, and I was doing something I loved. So travel is my passion. And I loved creating those experiences and that whole ecotourism offering. But, and it had that whole sustainability angle. It had so much creativity. A lot of it is missing in this venture. But I was all the time angry and bitter and irritable, and this has been very smooth sailing. It's like that. So you have to take your own decision and you have to make sure that it percolates, through everybody. So it's not like, earlier also people used to call me on Sunday. Now also a lot of people ping me on Sunday. I have very cryptic message replies so that they देखो यार मेरे को बात नहीं करनी है, संडे है मुझे नहीं बात करनी, you know. So stuff like that. I mean, you have to figure it out yourself and you have to manage it yourself.
Yeah, so I really appreciate the point that you have made, Aditi, that, whatever we decide, we have to stick to it, just to ensure that we are maintaining not just our priorities, but also giving time for ourselves. Because if we can't find time for ourselves, it's going to be tough as a founder or as an entrepreneur to balance things.
Absolutely.
So,
Anyway, you
Aditi,
chose
now,
entrepreneurship because you wanted to call your own time. Now, if you can't
true,
call your own time, what's the point? So you have to balance. It has to be balanced.
true. I mean, it's then getting into something that you didn't want to. So, but Aditi, if you were to describe yourself in two liners, what would it be?
I am very much like a chameleon. I think that's the best description of me. Um, So I think I'm very good at changing when when there is a need, and I think that's a big skill that helps me with startups. And I mean, honestly, yeah, I mean, I think I'm very versatile, and so therefore, I can sort of figure out my own way in anything. So be it creative space, be it business, be it finance. Yeah, I feel that, I think that's really my best quality. So I never thought, when I was in V Resorts, I was like, oh God, this tech space is terrible. I don't even want to talk tech. I don't want to be in tech. I never want to be in tech. And you should never say never, because you're always going to do that only. So now I ended up in tech. Then I said,
Tech,
kitna, it's going to be so boring. So I'm thinking, acha yaar, ye karna chahiye, because it's going to be so boring. And it's not boring at all, because every day, we figure out something new that comes our way, and there's something exciting that is happening. And this world of Gen AI has just started. So anyways, it's just so exciting. So
so
then,
exciting, yeah.
I mean, my point is that I think I just really find my way to anything.
That's good. Aditi, you are also helping other women founders. I believe you are also investing into startups. So, how do you exactly help them? And what are the criterias for investing into a startup so that any women entrepreneurs out there listening to this interview, they could get in touch with you if they need any help?
Yeah, I actually have a very different view of this when I did 3 years ago, when I started the whole investment process. The type of startup. So we were taught to invest in startups that were driven by innovation. Okay.
True.
And there was a
Yeah.
very strong moat or a barrier that existed, so that other players can't get into the same space. Or if they can, then they have some competitive advantage which will help them do well. Okay. And that's basically how I started my journey of investing. However, now the thesis has completely changed.
Mhm.
Okay. Because if you see the companies that get invested, even brick and mortar companies get invested into now. Because now the whole lens is to see profitability. So, I mean, look at Shark Tank, no? Some Momo company, some sleeve making company, some, so I mean, it's, I would say the environment is very different. And I don't really, I mean, I just because you're profitable does not mean that you're going to be scalable. So I don't like those type of companies. I don't invest in brick and mortar companies. I invest only where I can see a significant innovation, and something that they have which is better than the others in terms of their core competitive advantage. Um, and I feel that investing, like any other investing, like equity investing, mutual fund investing, is all about portfolio theory. So if you're investing, invest either in people okay, not friends and family. By the way, that's like the worst investment. So no, not that way, but where you
Sure.
developed a relationship with a founder. Let me say that. And otherwise, invest, have like a portfolio of investments, have like 20, 30, as many as you can. Invest small amounts, but invest in, say, invest 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs, but have a portfolio, because then you have the chance of doing well in one and not doing so well in the others. And that sort of balances out. That's how VCs also work on that whole portfolio theory, right? But I don't follow that. I follow, companies which have very, very hardcore innovation. And for me, there's another lens, which is that it has to be sustainable also. So I make very, very few investments, and I help women entrepreneurs in two ways. You can either get in touch with me. So if you're figuring out a business, or if you're figuring out what to do with your life, or you want to do something, um, I'm happy to help, and I'm happy to connect you to the in networks, etc., that exist out there to help women. And otherwise, so I basically do like a mentoring sort of a thing with somebody. Otherwise, I basically I'm focused on helping the companies which I have invested into.
So, if you are a women entrepreneur, you are related to innovation, you are into sustainability, and you have a co-founder. I'm adding that from my side, not from Aditi's side. So definitely get in touch with Aditi. She might be in a position to connect you with her relevant contacts, or help you in whatever way is possible. But yes, do get in touch with her. Leave us a message if you have any questions for her. So thanks, Aditi. It was really wonderful talking to you and, understanding what are the things that you are bringing in, and also the change in the investment sector. Like you pointed out that earlier it was more towards innovation and now it's more towards revenue generation and profitability. So that's a new thing for us to learn. So thanks a lot. And I hope to have you again sometime, maybe another 5 years, and again talk about a new venture about yours.
Thanks, Pooja. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aditi.